Hey guys, it's Gadi, Schwartz, and tonight, what the world and what Washington thinks about President Trump's shocking announcement that the U.S. should take over the Gaza Strip and turn it into a Riviera.
The fact that nobody has a realistic solution, and he puts some very bold, fresh, new ideas out on the table, I don't think should be criticized in any way.
I'm not supportive of having the American people pay to rebuild Gaza. I don't think that's our responsibility.
We have to back Israel 100%, and so whatever form that takes, we're interested in having that discussion.
From anger to fear to confusion to shoulder shrugs, we are breaking down all the reactions and trying to get answers on whether this can even happen. Plus, funding freezes and layoffs have turned the federal government upside down as the Trump administration goes full tilt on cutting back on bureaucracy. NBC's Hallie Jackson will be here with more on what agency is next in line for a shakeup. And ICE agents raid 2 apartment buildings in Denver while protests are spreading across the country. We're going to have the latest on the immigration crackdown happening across the United States tonight. And those are just some of the stories we are following. There is so much more to unpack tonight, so let's get going because this is Stay Tuned Now. And tonight, it seems like so many people in Washington, the U.S., and around the world are trying to make sense of Trump's shocking Middle East announcement with that U.S. plan to, quote, take over Gaza, level it out, and help turn it into the, quote, Riviera of the Middle East. That was met with some bipartisan pushback on Capitol Hill.
Dumb, stupid, and illegal. And the United States will not be invading Gaza. We will not be occupying Gaza.
President Trump's reference to Gaza last night was, kind of demented. I think I used the word deranged.
I'm not supportive of having the American people pay to rebuild Gaza. I don't think that's our responsibility.
There's taking over Gaza. There's helping rebuild Gaza. Probably need some clarification on what exactly that means. Clearly, Gaza doesn't belong to the United States.
Some other Republicans seem supportive. Secretary of State Rubio posting in part, make Gaza beautiful again. Representative Nancy Mace posting, let's turn Gaza into Mar-a-Lago. Of course, that is the reaction in Washington, nearly 6,000 miles away from the actual Gaza Strip. But much closer to the conflict, those words threaten more chaos and uncertainty to an already fragile situation. NBC's Matt Bradley joins us now. Matt, all this is happening in the middle of a very precarious ceasefire. Is it going to hold with the comments now looming over all this?
Yeah, I mean, there's already so much pressure on this ceasefire, Gadi, that besides what we're hearing from the White House yesterday, from Donald Trump himself, that we've already seen so much pressure from within Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet urging him to walk away from the ceasefire and resume the war. There's all of this international anger about the rising Palestinian death toll that continues to climb, or has right up until this peace treaty. So, this peace treaty wasn't supposed to necessarily be a slam dunk anyway. It wasn't necessarily going to be a sure thing. But now we have all the anger and confusion that are coming out of Trump's statements. So it's unclear what this is going to do. One proposal that's come out from a lot of Middle East analysts is that Trump's idea here might be part of his negotiating tactics. He is the guy who wrote The Art of the Deal. This might be not so much a distraction as just an offer that will compel, as we've heard from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, and some other Republicans today, it might compel the sides in the Middle East, the parties involved, to get together and try to come up with some sort of solution so that they can avoid Donald Trump's solution. It's unclear exactly what he means and what he intends to do with this.
Yeah, and then you add in the layer of like this weird tariff war that we see happening with China, with Mexico, China, with Canada, and factor that into him using that as leverage. Like, so much of Trump's communication strategy has always been about mixing hyperbole with the actual follow through sometimes. If this were to happen, would U.S. taxpayers pay for any of it, according to his plans?
I don't know. It doesn't sound like there was much of a plan. I mean, that's the really interesting thing is that, I was reading in the New York Times today, it sounds as though very senior officials within the White House had no idea that this plan was in the offing. State Department officials had no idea that this plan was happening. They couldn't draw up things like that. They didn't have a budget. They didn't have the lawyers sweating over the details on whether or not this violates international law, which so many people are saying it does. So, this is something that it looks like was pretty half-baked and wasn't really thought through before it came right out of Donald Trump's mouth to the eyes and the ears of the entire world. So to ask these questions about details, I got to tell you, Gadi, I don't know any better than you do.
And yet it was written down on a piece of paper enough for him to look down and him to read that piece of paper during that press conference. So much of this has invoked these conversations about like Trump doctrine and like how he sees foreign policy going forward. I remember, first days in office, he said something along the lines of, I reserve the right to make a deal. And I think at the time he was talking about like that AI deal, but it does ring true in almost everything that we see that somehow he wants to be there involved. Everything before hasn't really involved him, and so he's like, for a clean slate going forward, this is how things are going to be. Is that what we're seeing play out here?
It's interesting that you mentioned that because there's all sorts of different theories about his strategy here. One is the sort of crazy like a fox idea that he's the madman theory, that he's just trying to scare people with his capricious tendencies. The other is something maybe along the lines of what you're talking about, where we're seeing all of these different parties, trying to work this out. And Donald Trump is coming in there like a wrecking ball and trying to break up old assumptions. He's surrounding himself with these tech moguls who consider themselves to be disruptors. Donald Trump is very much considers himself to be a disruptor as well, especially when it comes to the Washington establishment, the foreign policy blob, as we've heard it called in Washington, made up of all these think tanks and lobbying groups and lawmakers. So, maybe he's just trying to break some heads and get people to move along with new ideas. But again, we just don't know. Nobody, it sounds like, who's next to Donald Trump knows these details either and knows his motivation.
And then when it comes to these ideas, are they his ideas? Are they coming from elsewhere? I know Trump said he's been talking to a lot of people about this, and then they thought it was a great idea. We're seeing some old clips of Jared Kushner hitting on the same theme or very similar theme last year, and I think we dug that out. Let's take a quick listen.
And Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable. It's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there, but I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up.
Unfortunate situation, and yet, that was then. Today, we've heard this pretty shocking announcement from the president. Do you think that Kushner might be one of those people telling him this is a great idea?
I mean, Jared Kushner is a property developer, just like the president, just like Witkoff, the envoy that the president sent to the Middle East, who so far seems to have been taking a very forceful role in the negotiations even before the president took office. So we're talking about a brain trust of property developers. So no wonder the old, to make a pun on the old expression, this is like seeing a nail. They just see wherever they look, they see property. They see beachfront property. They see boardwalks. They see almost a monopoly game, and they're the main players. So this is the kind of thinking that's coming to the Middle East that has a lot of people in Israel saying, well, wait, this is a problem that needed new thinking, a fresh new outlook. Well, a lot of Palestinians, most all Palestinians and many other people in the Middle East are saying that this is breaking with norms that are there for a reason. And the reason why we don't talk about these sorts of solutions and plans is because they sound insane and they're unworkable.
Yeah, if only the world was a simple place. Matt Bradley, thank you so much for joining us. Joining us now is Elise Labott. She is an Edward R. Murrow Press Fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations and author of Cosmopolitics on Substack. Elise, thanks so much for being with us. I'm not sure if you were able to hear some of that conversation. First off, what was your reaction when you heard the Gaza plan yesterday?
I was actually in a business meeting, Gadi, and someone kind of walked over to me and showed me, some of the social media that was coming out of it. It's a real bombshell. I think not only to anybody that follows the region was kind of like, what? But also my understanding is people in the White House standing next to Mr. Trump, President Trump, in the State Department. I think it was really just an idea. Maybe he's been talking to, as you've been talking with Matt, about, who knows really who's is in the ear. But there certainly hadn't been anybody that any kind of plan that has been talked about in the interagency, and certainly talking to my sources in the region last night and all day today, there's a lot of shock. There's a lot of kind of eye rolling, but there's also a lot of concern. Not only is this against international law, but also, that President Trump actually, I think what the concern is that he really doesn't have a lot of understanding of the region, of the Palestinians' attachment to the land. He thinks he can, just rid the Gaza of the Palestinians and then everybody would go along with that. Clearly at 4 a.m. Saudi time, when that statement from Saudi Arabia came out, rejecting the idea that Palestinians would be displaced, shows that, there was a lot of concern about what happened.
I do think that we have a responsibility to try to play some of this out. So picking up where, Matt Bradley was just talking about property and property development and how, maybe property developers just see this as this thing that they do. Let's talk about that property. Sure. We see these images of leveled out buildings. Some buildings are still standing, but so many of these blocks after blocks after blocks are left in rubble. And yet the land underneath still belongs to somebody, right? Like, how would this play out? Like, how would a developer come in and go through that rubble and deal with the ownership of that property by somebody else?
Well, right now the ownership is is being contested in international law at the UN between Israelis and Palestinians. And the truth of the matter is, Gadi, that a lot of Arab states, whether it's Saudi, United Arab Emirates, have been talking to, then the Biden administration, the Israelis, about that the Arab states would help rebuild Gaza, that they would, find some temporary shelter for the Palestinians in Gaza while they rebuilt it. Now, I think what the added concern is that President Trump is saying, okay, well, the Palestinians should leave. We'll find some great land for them somewhere, and we'll rebuild it for this Riviera of the Middle East, and everybody can go there, and it's a great big tourist attraction. You see what the Saudis are doing in their Red Sea area. I think he thinks that he's going to get the Saudis to buy in on that. So how would it work? There's a question of where these 2 million Palestinians from Gaza would be relocated. The key regional powers that could possibly take them in, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, have absolutely said no way, right? And the Saudis are already militarizing the Sinai in preparation for the Israelis or the Saudi or the U.S. taking some kind of forced displacement. So, intelligence officials warn this could trigger military action from Egypt. And then it's further complicated by practical challenges and serious concerns. Egypt and Jordan have serious economic concerns, and they also have, this concern that these Palestinians would be forced for the land and never be allowed back. I think what's, in this gray area is President Trump didn't say, per se, they should leave forever. He's kind of leaving this open room of maybe we'll develop it for them and then they can come back. I think if this were to be a serious proposal, and we're not clear at this point that it is, there would need to be some more meat on the bones.
Yeah, a lot of maybes in the most politically charged piece of earth on our planet right now. Elise, thank you so much for helping us with that discussion. And tonight, the CIA is now offering buyouts to its longtime employees, with the intelligence community just the latest federal target of President Trump's efforts to shrink the size of bureaucracy, leaving millions of Americans uncertain about their future. NBC News Now anchor Hallie Jackson has the latest.
From fury to fear.
Will my position remain?
A range of reactions from federal workers.
None of this is okay.
As the president pushes to scale back the size of government across all agencies, including USAID, which officially terminated Christina Dry just this afternoon.
I would say it's a sense of despair. It's heartbreaking because we know that people are going to be less healthy, less safe, through no choice of our own.
What does this mean for your life for the short term here?
Yeah, I think in 10, 15 days, this whole thing has just been turned upside down through no fault of my own. I don't know where my rent is coming from. Do I still live with my roommates? Do I have to move away from D.C. in order to make a life viable?
It's uncertainty over paychecks, health care, and more looming over many in the workforce. Nearly 2.3 million civilians work for the federal government. 80% live outside of the Washington area, including tens of thousands of employees in red states like Texas and Florida.
I think confusion is the easiest way to put it. It has been chaos.
After 10 years in the Navy, Andrea Galbraith shifted to a career in the federal government, at least for now.
Nobody wants to work in this type of condition where we're going to be in a psychological warfare for how long?
Other federal workers, not revealing their names for fear of retribution, described to NBC News fear and panic, an Orwellian nightmare. Another, Shelley, has her own concerns about Elon Musk.
I did not vote for him, no matter who I voted for. I have a huge amount of issue with the access that he's getting.
Vice President Vance today arguing many Americans did vote for Donald Trump, who promised repeatedly to have Elon Musk root out wasteful spending in our government. And the White House has said a bloated federal bureaucracy has cost American taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars each year. Dry suggests she understands streamlining, but
there has to be a mechanism by which that occurs that offers basic decency and basic respect to that worker.
The political getting personal.
Allie Jackson, thank you. Now, what does an FBI raid in Manhattan's Diamond District, stolen luxury goods from a famous athlete, and South American theft groups all have in common? Well, it sounds kind of like a movie, but actually it is a very real story, and the reason 2 men were just arrested in New York. NBC's Laura Jarrett explains.
New details emerging in court today on 2 suspects federal prosecutors say had been fueling a demand for stolen luxury goods, working with a sophisticated international crime ring targeting the homes of pro athletes. This pawn shop in New York City's famed Diamond District raided by the FBI Tuesday, where authorities say they recovered dozens of stolen high-end watches and jewelry after an undercover agent spent months selling them stolen goods for cash. Prosecutors say phone records and surveillance footage link Dmitry Novinsky and Juan Villar to South American theft rings carrying out burglaries across the country. Novinsky specifically tied to a group allegedly behind the burglary of Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, according to 3 sources familiar with the matter. Tonight, the FBI releasing this new photo of the alleged crew seen donning Gucci as a federal grand jury in Ohio indicted 3 of the men, after state patrol officers found this LSU T-shirt and a Louis Vuitton bag, among other items, in their car.
Where are you going right now?
Back in New York, both defendants pleading not guilty in court today.
We've heard prosecutors say many things, but I'm anxious to see all the evidence.
Prosecutors arguing they're a flight risk and now due back in court Friday, as a rash of thefts of other high-profile athletes still remain unsolved. Laura Jarrett, NBC News, New York.
Laura Jarrett, thank you. And here's some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. The suspect in that fatal Ohio warehouse shooting is now behind bars, and police arrested Bruce Reginald Foster earlier today in Columbus. He allegedly killed 1 person and hurt 5 others in a shooting last night. 4 patients are still being treated at a nearby hospital. And a judge is blocking a settlement between Alex Jones and the Sandy Hook families who sued him. Remember, Jones owes $1.3 billion in defamation lawsuits to those families after his false claims about the 2012 school shooting. A judge said the attempt to divide his assets weren't in the court's authority, and Jones has declared himself bankrupt. But the settlement would have looped in his company InfoWars, which made it pretty complicated. And a man was just executed by lethal injection in Texas after he killed a pastor at his own church back in 2011. Stephen Nelson was pronounced dead within the last hour in what's now the 2nd execution in the U.S. this year. He was convicted of strangling and suffocating Reverend Clint Dobson, and the Supreme Court rejected Nelson's last-minute appeals. Nelson was also indicted for killing a jail inmate while awaiting trial for the case. And just hours ago, President Trump signing an executive order that bans trans women competing in women's and girls' sports. The order will also roll back the Biden administration's guidance that prevented discrimination against trans athletes in schools. And the new design for the Francis Scott Key Bridge came out almost a year after the bridge collapsed in Baltimore last March. The new bridge will be taller and stronger against possible ship strikes. Officials say the remaining pieces of the old bridge will be cleared out by the spring, and the construction of the new one will finish by 2028. And don't go anywhere, we are just getting started. Up next, ICE agents with a blitz on Denver, who the raids are targeting and how it plays into the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. And later this hour, we are all talking about DeepSeek. What's the feeling in China, though? And are users there getting some of the same experiences as everyone else? Well, that's ahead in the future of everything, so stay tuned. Remember last week when planned ICE raids in Colorado were postponed due to, quote, media leaks? Well, today, federal agents spread out across the Denver area to make up for last week and carried out several ICE operations, some raids starting before the sun came up. Now, officials say they are targeting roughly 100 people involved with the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, but it's not clear how many people have been arrested so far, with a lot of those raids happening at an apartment building. Neighbors say they were getting caught up in the chaos.
They banged on the door, opened the door, and they were like knee deep in front of my door. And they were asking me if I was American or if I was legal.
All of this happening as protesters gathered outside Denver's Capitol building as part of a nationwide protest taking place today against President Trump's immigration policies. NBC's David Noriega joins us now on set. So, David, what else do we know about these raids? They're a long time coming here. We've been expecting them for some time.
Yeah, so this was really a show of force. You know, we were just talking yesterday about how the Trump administration is sort of deputizing or marshaling the entire federal law enforcement apparatus to basically supplement ICE out in the field. So today in the Denver area, including in Aurora, we saw DEA, FBI, ATF, marshals, all out there along with ICE. We saw, dozens of agents at each location. They were clearly trying to make a show of this. They recorded those videos, like the one we just saw of the agent throwing the flashbang grenade in this apartment complex. They say that they were targeting specifically 100 members of Tren de Aragua, this Venezuelan gang. We don't know, though, at this point, whether we don't know who those people were or whether they have been apprehended. As for who those people are, we don't know what provable links they have to Tren de Aragua. That information ICE is not releasing at this moment. I've spoken to a number of people on the ground. As you know, I've been spending some time in Aurora, Colorado. What they have reported is that there was a lot of officers, a lot of agents, but that the number of arrests, at least at apartment complexes in Aurora, was relatively small. Part of it is that they were, they didn't have warrants for all of the apartments in these buildings, so they were going door to door, knocking on doors, banging on doors, trying to get people to come out. I spoke to one guy who was walking out of his building with his 11-year-old daughter, taking her to school when he saw federal agents surrounding the building. They had his back to him at that moment, so he just ducked back inside, went back in his apartment, and holed up, did not answer the door. A lot of people did exactly that. Again, the big question is who exactly was arrested. We don't even have a number of arrests at this point.
And they were saying 100 individuals that they were looking to arrest after all of the individuals that were arrested during the Biden administration, the same gang?
Yes. So all they're saying is that they had 100 people identified as alleged members of Tren de Aragua, and that those are the people who were targeted in this raid. But again, information as to who those people were is scant.
And we're also hearing that the capacity right now at detention centers is something like 109%. Yeah. I know that they're obviously starting to ship people to Guantanamo Bay, but with us at capacity already, like what's happening? Is it catch and release like we saw during the last administration, or is everyone going to get sent to Guantanamo Bay and some temporary holding facilities?
Right. So our colleague Julia Ainsley has reported that some people who have been, arrested by immigration authorities in these latest sort of large-scale roundups have in fact been since released. Just as the Trump administration is supplementing its ICE officers in the field with agents from FBI, DEA, et cetera, they're trying to supplement their detention space, their ICE detention space, which is mostly a network of privately owned prisons, essentially, with primarily military assets, right? So it's unclear at this moment, but they've been talking about potentially using Buckley Space Force Base, which is in Aurora. It's unclear whether they would use it for detaining people or just for staging operations. As we know, Trump has in progress an effort to house tens of thousands of people at Guantanamo. We haven't heard of any new people being sent to Guantanamo, at least since yesterday. The detention question is one of the biggest questions. The plan is to basically use the military to supplement, but that's in its early stages.
And I know earlier in the day we were still hearing worst of the worst getting sent to Guantanamo. Do we know who has been sent to Guantanamo? Do we have names or what they've been charged with?
No, and we have been asking. ICE in the first week or so of these sweeps was publishing arrest numbers every day. They've since stopped publishing those numbers. So we don't even know how many people they've arrested. An interesting question to ask right now is it possible for them to sustain this increased level of arrests compared to past daily averages, which again, they're doing with, by roping in tons of other federal agencies and resources. And might that be why we are no longer seeing how many people are picking up in a given day?
And is it possible for them to sustain the lack of answers? I mean, one of the things that we have seen is just shrugs, a lot of shrugs,
right.
What do you want from us? And it's like, well, we want specific information, and it just doesn't come.
Look, I think journalists who've been covering immigration enforcement for some time, this isn't the first time that questions have been raised about the transparency of the system, right, and the accessibility of information. I would say that in the last administration, we weren't constantly asking ICE every day, every week, how many people did you arrest today? Where were they? You know what I mean? They would publish that information in, regular reports. So the lack of transparency, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily an aberration. We'll see how much of this information they release, down the road. At that point, we might have to start asking some harder questions about, okay, why aren't you releasing this information? What is the data? We are all desperate to see the data with respect to how many people have criminal convictions who have been picked up. That's really the big question.
Very important. David Noriega, thank you. And amid those ICE raids come allegations that some are starting to impersonate ICE officers across the country, including this incident caught on camera that turned into charges for kidnapping. Priya Sridhar has more.
Bullet clear.
As ICE agents carry out the sweeping immigration crackdown President Trump has ordered in cities across the country.
Where are you from, Mexico? You from Mexico?
A warning tonight from authorities about people impersonating those agents.
You're going back to Mexico.
In a video shared widely on social media, a South Carolina man police have identified as Sean Michael Johnson is seen telling the Latino driver of this truck he's going to be sent back to Mexico.
No, you cannot drive, bro. You have not a license. No, you cannot.
At one point, taking the keys out of the ignition, dangling them in front of the driver, and mocking his accent.
I don't be speaking that pig Latin in my country, bro.
Johnson, who police say tried to report the driver for not having a license, was charged with kidnapping and impersonating a federal officer after the video circulated. Johnson could not be reached for comment.
We are very concerned that this will actually continue to grow and spread.
Juan Proaño is the CEO of the League of United Latin American Citizens, the U.S.'s largest Latino civil rights organization.
Vigilantism is not new in America, but the January 6th pardons have really emboldened right-wing extremists.
Over the weekend, Philadelphia police say 3 men wearing black T-shirts with ICE written on them impersonated federal officers to gain access to a resident hall at Temple University. Police only identifying one of them as 22-year-old Aiden Stiegelman. The Defender Association of Philadelphia, which is representing Stiegelman, declined to comment.
You can protect yourself first and foremost by not opening the door. You are not obligated to open the door of your private property, even if law enforcement essentially comes knocking.
Last week in North Carolina, another horrifying incident when police say this man, Carl Thomas Bennett, was arrested for allegedly impersonating a law enforcement officer and sexually assaulting a woman at a Motel 6, threatening to deport her if she didn't comply. Bennett's attorney did not return NBC's request for comment.
This is a really terrible time in our country. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. The Latino community is just so resilient at the end of the day. And so there's no question in my mind that we will overcome these challenges, both short-term and long-term.
Priya Sridhar, thank you. And coming up, how a rock is helping save the Atlantic salmon. Our Chase Kane took a trip way up north to see how the puzzle pieces fit together. But first, you got to see this. This might seem like your average snack, but What you don't see, let's see what's inside. Beetles. Custom officials at LAX found a package from Japan that was hiding 37 live beetles inside of bags of chips and chocolate wrappers. Apparently, online exotic insect sales are quite profitable. That contraband there, that was about $1,500 on the black market. The beetles will likely be donated now to local zoos, and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Out here in California, we've been getting pretty soaked. Those atmospheric rivers are causing everything from heavy rain to a lot of snow in the northern part of the state. And with all of this comes fear over mudslides. Take a look at this scene in Sonoma County. This is the aftermath of a collapsed house that slid into a river there. Luckily, no one was in that home, but people in that area were told to evacuate the whole thing, leaving people stunned.
I've never personally seen a house come off a hill out in this area before, so these are unprecedented rains that we're getting out here.
I'm just shocked, and I'm worried about people. I mean, because this is crazy.
Please use caution. There's rain is still coming down. We are still in a flood warning.
So let's bring in Bill Cairns. So, Bill, what can people up and down the West Coast here expect for the rest of the week? And another question, like this rain is coming. Does this mean that the fire season that we've seen is finally over?
It's pretty much. I mean, some areas of Southern California, Gadi, haven't gotten as much rain as, say, Central and Northern California. But, yes, there's a good reason for the last week or two. We haven't heard about any new fire starts or anything like that. Finally, we're getting that wet weather pattern that we were hoping for all winter long. So here's our next storm. And it's always the second storm that's always worse because the rivers are already kind of swollen. The hillsides are already kind of saturated. And so this storm is going to come in during the day tomorrow. The rain's going to start around San Francisco and the Bay Area, who got some of the worst of it last time, right around the morning rush hour. The steadiest, though, will be during the afternoon into the evening. This is at 8 p.m. When you see the bright yellows and reds, those are heavy downpours. That'll be about Sacramento heading northwards. Of course, we'll get the snow in the high elevations. The good thing with this storm is it's in and out in a hurry, and that's what's really going to prevent significant problems with it. By the time we get towards Friday, this is long gone, just a little bit of snow left over in the mountains. So how much rain are we talking about? This is not blockbuster amounts. Maybe in the mountains right below the snow levels. That's where we'll pick up maybe 2 to 4 inches of rain, but elsewhere it's going to be a lot of half to inch and a half. So we're mostly concerned about the areas that are already seeing flooding now. I know the Russian River is one of those areas that's having significant problems with flooding. And the snow, it will easily pick up a foot or two in the highest terrain, Gadi. But most of this storm will be beneficial, and even the rain you get in Los Angeles, it looks to be after midnight Thursday into Friday morning. It doesn't look to be enough to be big problems for those burn scars.
That's kind of a good look in February if you ski. What's February looking like for the rest of the country here?
Yeah, this isn't a huge storm affecting the east, but just the timing of it is really bad for tomorrow. Thousands of school children, I should say millions, are going to have delays. There's a lot of cancellations, too. And the reason is, see this pink on here? This is ice. We have freezing rain throughout all of southern Ohio right now. And for that reason, we got 107 million people. When you include Chicago and D.C. to Philly to New York to Boston, there's a lot of big cities in here. That's why this number gets so high so quickly. And it's mostly going to be in the early morning that we have all the issues, especially around the New York City area. Could be an inch or two of snow and then freezing rain on top of it. So morning commute, a lot of delays, lots of problems. It's not like a big event. We're not going to see power outages from the ice. The only exception maybe areas of Pennsylvania, and even the snow is not really a big deal. Northern New England gets enough to plow, but you're used to it by now there anyways. But even New York to Hartford, it's just 1 to 2 inches, Gadi. It's just the timing of this, and this is a very active weather pattern setting up. We got another snowstorm for this region of the country Saturday night, and then the East Coast gets another probably big one Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So all of a sudden, winter's yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, hopefully a lot of snow days for kids going to school, but also for their parents in the future, the next couple of weeks. Those are the best kinds of snow days. Bill Cairns, Thank you. And you probably heard the saying, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, for this next story, how about saving way more than 2 fish with 1 stone? And in this case, we are talking about limestone. A team of Canadian scientists discovered they could use it to help save the salmon population while also offsetting oil and gas emissions. NBC national climate reporter Chase Kane shows us how.
If you go way up the East Coast, north of Maine to Nova Scotia,
you'll find Donald Rutledge's home of 55 years.
I love it. I hope to stay here for a while.
But soon after he moved in, the lifeblood of this river started moving out, dying. The Atlantic salmon that spawned here struggled to survive because of acid rain. It was most intense in the 70s and 80s, caused by pollution from coal, oil, and gas.
Some of that rain could be slightly acidic. Acid rain, it's a rather unpleasant side effect of 20th century life.
Years after global governments largely addressed the toxic pollutants, the salmon still hadn't returned. And in 2005, a young graduate student named Eddie Halfyard made it his focus, right here on the West River.
Downstream from here, and I caught my first ever Atlantic salmon on a fly rod many moons ago. So it does have a special place in my heart.
That research led Eddie to co-found Carbon Run, currently the only company in the world that's both offsetting fossil fuel pollution and healing the rivers salmon call home, all by speeding up Earth's carbon cycle.
Humans have thrown that whole thing out of whack, and we have pumped a huge amount of CO2 into the atmosphere, effectively tipping that scale. And so what we need to do is go on the other side and, in essence, replace or speed up the process of eroding mountains and carrying it to the ocean.
Known as enhanced rock weathering, the simple process takes limestone, grinds it into powder, then mixes it with river water inside a silo like this.
And this is the end result. It's just water from this river being pumped right back into this river, except there's limestone added to it.
And the calcium in that limestone reacts with carbon dioxide in the water, creating a natural bicarbonate.
And really all it is the safer form of carbon in a river, taking it from the acid, which is the CO2, and making it something that's more useful. Of course, animals use it for their shells and their bones, and why not tap into what nature does so well to help us get back to where we need to be.
And independent climate scientists confirmed to me that this is a simple, straightforward approach, and that the big benefit is once the carbon makes its way down the rivers and eventually settles on the ocean floor, it'll be naturally stored there for tens of thousands of years. And that, they say, is the real climate impact.
That's also how Carbon Run pays for this. Companies buying carbon credits to offset their own emissions.
We have some wonderful buyers to these global blue chip companies that look for quality carbon credits. And we're monitoring the carbon removal along the way. And so we're only counting what's actually been removed.
Sensors monitor the river 24/7, but the Carbon Run team also regularly takes a polar plunge to double check the old-fashioned way.
25.5.
And what started in this cold Canadian river is going worldwide, ready to expand across North America and Europe. In total, Carbon Run believes 400,000 rivers could benefit from their approach, and their conservative projection is that they could sequester 1 billion tons of carbon every year, roughly 10% of the global need.
What this offers is a system where we can use nature and learn from nature and really spur movement on having everybody understand the opportunity in front of us.
And someone who already understands is Donald, seeing salmon return to his river, something he wondered if his grandkids would ever see.
What I would say, the science was right on it. Proof is in the pudding, like I've seen it. But it's a double thing now. It's twice as good as it was just by saving the salmon.
Proof is in the limestone pudding, and Chase Kane joins me now. Chase, my mind is so blown. I'm trying to understand the science here, but it sounds so simple. It's basically like crushing up limestone and then sprinkling it into the river and then carbon capture. It's like the liquid IV things that you put in your water, you drink it, and then your water absorbs more minerals. Is that kind of what's going on?
I mean, that's a great explanation, Gadi. I mean, and I was asking the same question repeatedly. I was like, wait a minute, there's got to be a catch here. This is so simple, but it's literally nature's process. Like, imagine it rains on a mountain, and the rain is slowly dissolving rocks, trickles down into lakes and rivers, and that's part of the carbon and calcium cycle. So this is just speeding that up. It's like, yeah, like a liquid IV, like the powder, you're just helping your body absorb the electrolytes faster. It's helping the rivers and lakes and oceans absorb carbon dioxide faster.
So how big could this scale?
I mean, right now, so this one little silo that you see in their story there, about 11,000 pounds of carbon dioxide that it's going to sequester every year. So globally, that's not a lot. But if you scale this out to, again, hundreds of thousands of rivers around the world, we're talking up to 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide. That's about 10% of what the UN thinks we need to be sequestering every year by the middle of this century in about 25 years. So, you know, that's significant. And by the way, it's helping fish and aquatic life. I mean, it's helping these natural ecosystems. It is so simple.
It is like a packet of emergency for the rivers.
Exactly. That is a great explanation, guy. I should have put that in the story.
Chase Kane, thank you so much for being with us. Fascinating stuff. And here are some of the other headlines that are happening out west that we're following right now. California Governor Newsom is in Washington today talking to President Trump and other lawmakers about wildfire recovery aid. The president's sit-down was closed to the press, but Newsom posted this video on X about his day, saying in it that he told President Trump that federal assistance is needed to help rebuild from the historic fires. And a one-time Hollywood producer has been convicted of murder and several counts of sexual assault. David Pierce was found guilty in the November 2021 deaths of 2 women, and prosecutors say Pierce drugged them. At least a dozen women also came forward to accuse him of sexual assault after news broke of his arrest. Sentencing has been set for March. And another plane incident to tell you about, this time at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. The wing of a taxiing Japan Airlines plane hit the tail of a Delta plane. That Delta was standing to get de-iced. No one was hurt, fortunately, but the FAA and the NTSB are both investigating. And up next, this is no ad for a vacation spot. The surprising story behind a paddleboarding man. This one's a weird one. It's straight ahead and around the world, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. Let's take a quick look at some stories that are happening around the world. 2 suspects are on the run after a shooting at a Brussels metro station. Now, video shows the gunmen firing their guns and then running back into the station. This happened around 6 a.m. local time, and somehow no one was hurt. Police searched the metro tunnels, but so far no arrests have been made. And Argentina is following the lead of the U.S. by withdrawing from the World Health Organization, saying the country and the international organization have profound differences, especially when it comes to COVID. Argentina contributes about $8 million a year to the WHO. And lawmakers in the Philippines are moving towards impeaching their vice president there. Among the claims, involvement in an alleged plot to assassinate the sitting president and corruption. Now, enough members of the country's House of Representatives have signed off on the move, and that'll mean that she'll face an impeachment trial in the Senate. And a surprising find near the Bahamas. A migrant from China floating on a paddleboard. Now, the video released by the U.S. Coast Guard shows a man kneeling on 2 boards placed on top of each other with what looks like luggage strapped to them. No word on where he started his journey or when, but he's been brought back to the Bahamas. Before we go, it is time for the future of everything, and this is not a new view of Mars, but boy, is it igniting some new ideas. Why it's getting so much attention and what's happening on the red planet these days, that's in the future of space. Plus, how the hottest thing in AI is being received in its home country. Our Janice Mackey-Frayer dives deep onto DeepSeek in China. That's coming up next, so stay tuned. And tonight in the future of everything, a different look at the growing popularity of DeepSeek. But first, some headlines from my favorite place, outer space. NASA's Hubble telescope found a galaxy with 9 rings. That's it right there. That's 6 more rings than any other galaxy that's known. They named it Bullseye because, well, obviously, looks like a bullseye. And it's 2.5 times bigger than our Milky Way. And in the latest bout of Elon Musk beefing with the internet, Reddit has entered the chat, and in one subreddit, users were threatening violence against some of the Doge staffers he's brought in to try to cut costs and modernize tech, with Musk saying on X they were breaking the law, and Reddit temporarily banned that thread shortly after. And now to the latest in the AI wars. DeepSeek's ultra-cheap open-source chatbot burst onto the scene a week ago, and it surprised everyone from Silicon Valley to Wall Street. And now the list of countries banning the Chinese tech is growing. Australia, Italy, Taiwan are removing DeepSeek from app stores and banning government downloads because of data privacy concerns. In Washington, Republicans have introduced a bill to ban Chinese AI tech altogether, with penalties including big fines and potential prison time. In China, it's a very different vibe. Social media is flooded with images of crowds flocking to the CEO's hometown, celebrating the app as a national success. And NBC's Janice Mackey-Frayer has that story from Beijing.
It is the Chinese app taking the world by storm. From Wall Street to Washington, DeepSeek is seen as a disruptor to the tech world order.
The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call.
Here in China, the AI-powered chatbot is being hailed as a symbol of Chinese innovation.
Oh, God.
That's narrowing the artificial intelligence gap with U.S. tech giants, despite a ban on selling high-powered chips to China.
That is probably one of the bigger, longer-term surprises, where Chinese companies are no longer takers of open source, they're also makers of open source.
But for all the talk of capabilities at a low cost, it's no secret the DeepSeek experience comes with Chinese censorship and controls.
Using China's internet is like navigating this whole other space where some websites and platforms are blocked and the censors are watching. DeepSeek is like this window into how information is shaped here.
This is what it looks like here in China. If I ask DeepSeek general questions about Taiwan or Xi Jinping, the chatbot is dismissive and says, sorry, I'm not sure how to approach this type of question yet. But watch how it censors itself in real time. A question about the 2022 white paper protests over China's COVID restrictions returned a lot about how and why they started and the police crackdown, even calling it a rare moment of collective resistance. Then DeepSeek did a rethink and deleted the answer. When I asked if China censors its internet, DeepSeek started strong on the Great Firewall and blocking sensitive topics like Taiwan, Tibet, and Tiananmen Square before stopping mid-sentence. DeepSeek has not responded to a request for comment, but that the bot takes certain views on topics deemed sensitive in China is stoking concerns about security, free speech, and shifting narratives.
People have such a blinkered view of China outside of China that they don't understand just how grossly censored DeepSeek is and how much DeepSeek amplifies Chinese propaganda.
There are security concerns, too, over data leaks and worries that what DeepSeek is collecting on American users, including chat histories, IP addresses, and keystrokes, according to its privacy policy, could be accessed by China's authorities. Government offices in Taiwan have prohibited using the AI tool, and so have parts of the U.S. government, like the U.S. Navy saying it's due to potential security and ethical concerns. For now, DeepSeek's low-profile founder, Liang Wangfeng, is becoming something of a folk hero here. All over Chinese social media, there are videos showing how his home village, which is far from China's booming tech cities, is now a tourist attraction. Even the SWAT team was deployed to control traffic. Liang Wangfeng rarely does interviews, but told Chinese state media last year that China's AI cannot remain a follower forever. Most experts believe the U.S. is still ahead in the AI race, at least so far. But with DeepSeek ranking as one of the most downloaded apps on American phones these days, China may not be far behind. Janice Mackey-Freyer, NBC News, Beijing.
Janice, thank you. And finally tonight, Space Talk is buzzing with theories about a picture from Mars with all the right angles. And by right angles, take a look at that. That is 4 right angles, or at least like 3.5, possibly 4 right angles, and that would make up a perfect square if our active imaginations lined up with some sort of soon-to-be bombshell discovery. Now, the so-called Mars Square was actually captured more than 20 years ago by NASA's Mars Global Surveyor, but gained new life this week after spreading like wildfire on social. Take a look.
Have you seen the recent images that they got from Mars of that big square?
This entire image is 3 kilometers across, so I would guess that from here to here is about 1.5 kilometers. So this is a big object.
Look at that. It's like perfectly square, corner to corner.
That square is one step closer to like really needing a comprehensive analysis of what's there.
Comprehensive analysis. Let's call Paul Sutter, former NASA astronaut. Thanks so much, Paul, for being with us. Okay, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, they're like chatting about this, at least Joe Rogan hitting him up on X. They're saying, let's investigate, and say what you will. At least one of them has the means and the drive and the soon-to-be Starship to actually do that. What's your take? Do you see proof of like an alien ancient civilization, or is this just what randomly happens when you're taking pictures of an entire planet like 140 million miles away?
Yeah, Mars is definitely full of mysteries, which is why we are so fascinated by it. And to give you a sense of what's happening, what we're seeing are crisscrossing ridge lines that happen to line up with each other. And these ridge lines are caused as fractures. When meteors strike the surface, they leave an impact crater, and then they literally crack the surface. If you want to replicate this at home, just look for a large sheet of ice and start chucking rocks at it, and you'll see the impact from the rocks itself, and then you'll see fracture lines. And if you throw enough rocks at the ice, some of those fracture lines are going to intersect at various angles, sometimes occasionally a right angle, and then with a little helpful imagination and some good shadowing and contouring, you get something that looks like a square. So it's probably not aliens, but that doesn't mean it's not interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's say you were in charge of like the first place, second place, third place. We're going to Mars to check out. Are there any mysteries that you see that you're like, I definitely want to see that with my own eyes? It reminds me of some of the other famous images that we've seen, like the face on Mars or the blowing in the wind sand ripples stuff. Where would be the first place you would land?
All right, so if I'm going to be in charge of our Mars mission, thank you very much for the honor. It's promotion. It's a great honor to serve my country. Where I want to go is actually the South Pole ice cap. It's an ice cap made of water ice and dry ice, frozen carbon dioxide. And underneath that ice, underneath the miles of ice, we think there might be some pockets, some lakes of liquid water. And if we're going to find life on the red planet, it's probably deep underground, underneath those ice caps or underneath the crust. So that's where I want to go. Not anywhere on the surface. That we got that. I want to go underground.
That being said, like if you're in charge, can you put some of those lava tubes and maybe Pavonis Mons like on there too? Because I will volunteer to go down below and explore those lava tubes. It is crazy to see those images. I know these days, like we are seeing high quality images of Mars's surface beamed back almost daily. When we see this stuff and when you refresh, are we seeing this in real time? Is there a delay? Are there a lot of people looking at this before the public does, or is this somewhat open source?
It's pretty much open source. The truth is, in almost all areas of astronomy and physics, we generate more data than any scientist can ever comb through in their entire lives. We just generate gobs of surveys and data, and professional astronomers look through that data, look for interesting stuff. But of course, we miss things because it's just mountains of data. And so it's all sitting publicly available. It's all paid for by the public. So it's available to the public, sitting on archives, sitting on databases. And then we can have amateur astronomers, citizen scientists going through this data looking for interesting things like this mountain crossing feature that looks like a square, but really tells us about the ancient history of Mars. And that's worth following up on in its own right.
Oh my gosh, that would be so much more productive than scrolling social media. If only somebody could like figure out a scroll, an endless scroll that we could just look at brand new images from another planet, we would be onto something. Dr. Paul, thank you so much for being with us. Always a pleasure. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. That's going to do it for us tonight. I'm Gadi Schwartz. We'll see you here tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.